Brooke, if you want to enable her for sharing, I will introduce you. So we have Kristen here from Arizona. She is the host of Moms in Real Estate podcast. She is also the founder of Connect and Cultivate. How many states are you in now with that?
22.
22 states. Okay. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about what Connect and Cultivate is?
Oh, sure. So Connect and Cultivate started out here in Arizona, and it is a basically local membership-based community for female entrepreneurs where I create consistency in their calendar for connections and for growth in their business. And then we launched last February to where it's a business in a box, and we have women, all real estate agents that have taken on building their own chapter in their local community as one of their prospecting legs in their business. Because I believe it's like one of the best ways to build your business through building deep-rooted relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, so I'm in Northwest Ohio and I've seen the Cleveland area really take off and it's
Oh
really
yeah.
cool to see. So I love that. Let's see, you're an event host, you're master connector, entrepreneur, mom, wife, and on a mission to lock arms with women like you to create a life and business that you love.
Yeah.
So, all right, so go ahead. You can share your screen and I'm excited
Awesome.
to learn.
And don't worry, Dave, I see you on the call. I still have guys in my group. I just like when I'm marketing, I got to market to one person. So well, cool. I'm really excited to be on this call and talk about community. I love, love, love talking about community. And before I kind of dive into more of the tactical stuff on building a community, I thought it'd be helpful if I give you like a quick backstory on basically like where I came from. So I've been in the industry for about a decade, and my son actually turns 10 tomorrow, which really like is crazy because when he was first born, I was working at GoDaddy and I was like, I am never coming back here. I did not want anything to do with corporate America ever again. And I was on this mission to find a job where I could work for somebody who really understood that like being a mom came first. And I was having a hard time. Like my business degree got me nowhere at that point. And I was actually complaining about it at a bachelorette party. And there was this agent, her name was Courtney, at the bachelorette party. And she's like, hey, there's this local brokerage. It's a husband wife that run it, and they're looking for a recruiter. Do you want to interview with them? And I was like, yeah, sure. That actually sounds like a lot better than everywhere I've been interviewing at. And so I interviewed and I actually got hired on as the recruiter. My job was recruiting and retention for a local independent brokerage. There was about 3 to 350 agents at the time. And I just dove in. I was like, okay, my job is recruiting and retention. And I remember I was like, they handed me like brokerage sheets where it was like, here's the top agent in the office all the way down, and here's their phone number. You can see their production and pick up the phone, and you're going to call them, and here's your scripts. And I hated doing it. Like I absolutely hated doing it. I was terrified of calling the top producers. I was like, I'm going to start like even below the middle. I was like, I'll call like the $2 million producers and down and see how this goes. And um, it was just really hard for me. I was like, I'm not good at cold calling. I felt like the scripts were more like lies. It was more like, hey, I'm following your business. But every once in a while, I got an agent who was like, okay, I'll come in, tell me why your brokerage is so great. And over time, like I was able to focus more on like the people that were there and the people that were coming in and the retention side of things. And what I realized is I like loved the community and culture part of it and making people feel like they were a part of something. That was my absolute favorite. So what we really focused on was events. We do things like company picnics, we would do awards, we would do, I mean, all these different things. And as we saw that working for attracting agents, we were like, okay, let's like do this way more. So I would do like trunk or treat. I would do bunko and backpacks. We would do game show CE classes, and we just became like the go-to brokerage. And we created this sense of like, if you weren't there, you felt the FOMO. And it was great. We grew from 350 agents all the way to over 900 agents in the 5 years that I was the recruiter there. It was amazing because I used to track where everyone would come from too. And like, even without revenue share, like the number one way that we would get people was agent referrals. And so I absolutely loved it. And in 2020, our brokerage was doing the best that it ever was. And the owners were like, hey, we're going to close down and we're going to move to eXp Realty because that's the future of real estate. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I cried. I was like, what are we going to do going to this virtual brokerage when like everything we do is in person? And, you know, total scarcity creeped in. And they told me I was going to start my own business. And so again, when I had scarcity creep in, I was like, I don't want to be a real estate agent. Like, you know, I love real estate agents. I was friends with so many of them. And it was something that I was like, it just isn't for me. So what is this going to look like for me at eXp Realty? And I did a lot of, you know, digesting EXP and like studying people, all the amazing people that were doing and building these amazing organizations. And I was actually in Austin, Texas, or no, Dallas, Texas. And I was at the Build event and I was watching this girl talk about this community that she had built for agent attraction under the EXP platform. And it was at that moment that I just had this light bulb. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's my value proposition is community building. And so it was great. Like community and connection has helped me launch so many different business opportunities since then. You know, it's been 5 years since then. My business looks very different. Originally, it was started where Connect and Cultivate, what I just described to you, was my value proposition to attract real estate agents. And now it's for female entrepreneurs, which is real estate agents as well. And it's just grown. And I also have a Facebook community of 35,000 moms in real estate and just a bunch of different legs of stuff. And all of my opportunities have been through what I'm going to teach you guys how to do today. So we are going to go over what to do if you're like, hey, I think I want to build a community, but I don't even know where to start. We're going to talk about mapping out events, and we're going to talk about attendance and systems. Does anyone have anything to say before I get going? Nope. Okay. So we're going to talk about building your community in 4 steps. So the first thing is, if you're thinking about building a community, I want you to do it with clarity. So these are the questions that I go over with any of my chapter leaders and or anyone that I'm coaching when they're building a community is, why am I starting this community? What's the purpose of it? What problem am I solving for my community? Who is my ideal community member? Remember, I told Dave, like, it's not that he couldn't come in my community, but like my ideal community member is a 35-year-old female entrepreneur who's been in business for a while, that sees the value in connection. She just is missing that consistency. And so when I'm talking to people about my community, I know exactly who I'm talking to. What is the main goal of this community? How am I providing ongoing value to my members? This is a very important part. And how do I want to make my community feel? I'll give you guys a couple different examples, one from my own business, and then I did a fun example I came up with the other day for real estate agents community. So what problem am I solving as Connect and Cultivate for my community? They're lonely and building their business by themselves. They do not want to, they do want to build along the side of other women on a similar mission. Their ideal community member is a 35 to 45-year-old female entrepreneur established in her business. I already told you guys this. She's a wife, she's kind, she's genuine, and she's open. I have no mean girls in my group, which is actually true. I don't have any mean girls in my group. The example I came up for you guys, I actually am like, gosh, I really want to start this community, is the pickleball moms. So the problem that they're solving is the girl, she's lonely at home. She does not have those go-to girlfriends anymore. They don't want to go to another play date. They want to be active and they want to have adult conversations. Like, I can think of so many moms that recently have had kids that will totally relate with this. My ideal community member is a local mom with young kids. She works, she's active, she's outgoing, and she sees the value in community. For Connect and Cultivate, going back to the other question, so what's the main goal of this community? My goal is to connect women together, to empower them, to educate them, and to encourage them. And I provide value on an ongoing basis to my members because I meet new amazing leaders to come into my community and pour into community members. I create consistency on their calendars to build connection and grow in their business, which I mentioned earlier. And for the Pickleball Moms Club, so the main goal of their community is to consistently get these moms out of their houses and empower them to remember who they are, to get them in the habit of moving their bodies regularly, and to get them connecting with other women. So how do they provide ongoing value to their members? They stay consistent with their meetups. One of the biggest failures I see in people building communities is they're not consistent. So we're going to stay consistent with the meetups, provide a fun experience each time there's a meetup, do things outside of just pickleball, and create an online way for the community to communicate between the meetups. That's definitely a really missed piece I see, is like, if you're going to have these communities and you're going to meet regularly, what is the platform where everyone's able to interact in between those in-person meetings? And if somebody can't make it, being able to have those other opportunities. How do I want to make my community feel? I want to make them feel seen and important, like they have a friend. I want these women to go through business with a group of people who are collaborative and supportive, not just me. It's not about me. It's about bringing these people together. I want them to have a crew of women. I want them to feel like when they need someone to call, they have a bunch of people to call, whether that's a bad day in business, a day to celebrate in business, or they have an idea they want to bounce off of another entrepreneur. For the pickleball mom, it's how do I want to make my community feel? I want my community to feel empowered, supported, and connected. My goal is to create a space where members gain confidence outside their home and foster a sense of belonging. I want them to feel motivated, inspired, and knowing they're surrounded by like-minded individuals and trusted relationships that help them move forward with purpose. So I think it really helps me when I'm going through those questions to hear other communities and what their answers are. So I'll even take a minute if anybody wants to take themselves off of mute. And if there's like a community you already have and or you've been thinking about it, I would love to hear your idea.
I'm not part of any communities or start any communities, but there's one local to us that I think is so cool. My friend's actually part of it, and it's called like Hot Mom Walks or
Yes.
something. And she loves it. And they go to like different libraries and do things with the kids, and they find all these local events. And I follow the account. I don't even have kids. Like I just think it's cool to like watch all the things that they do. And she's made so many friends from it and like really tapped into it, helps plan everything now. And like she doesn't get paid to do any of it, obviously. It's a community, but like she loves it. So I just love that one.
That's so, I have like so many of my chapter leaders do hot girl walks, and it is their biggest lead generator because it's easy. Like people just want to go move their bodies and have conversations. And so just to be able to foster that, like, hey, this is when we're doing it this month. Here's the topic that you'll get to discuss with people. It is so popular. So, and you say like she's not making money off of it. Well, she probably is if she owns a business, right? Because as a business owner, we have to ask ourselves, how are we meeting new people on a regular basis? And once we meet them, how are we staying relevant to them? And so having something like a hot girl walk is like, it's an invite tool, right? So you're constantly able to invite people without saying, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? Or, hey, do you need a facial or whatever your business is? So the second thing when you're building a community is focus on the connection over the transactions. So a lot of people like have told me over the years, you're like a cool BNI. And I'm like, I mean, no, but like, I just think back to like so many real estate events, so many BNI events where I left and I was like, ugh, like I had these conversations, these people like literally had a dollar sign over my head. And the minute that they didn't see a transaction, they were like glazed over and looking for the next person. And I know you've all felt that before. So if you can like really, really master this piece right here, where you focus on connection over transactions, transactions will happen all the time. You just need to realize they might not happen right in that moment. And so you need to, as a community, is create these opportunities for consistent connection. And that's when the sales will happen. I can't even tell you how many people get so much business within my local East Valley chapter. And we never, ever, ever have people selling. If you build a community where you bring in educators, so just like this, right? So like, I'm trusted to come in here and teach you guys. The last thing I'm ever going to do is sell to you guys, because that would be horrible to do to Nicole and Nikki. So I always set expectations for my speakers and my educators that you'll never sell from the stage. However, if you do a good job connecting, you probably will get business. You'll see I do these retreats twice a year, and I have the same people that teach at them, and they continue to teach. They pay for their own way. They literally are like jump at every opportunity. Anytime I ask them, it's because they get so much business coming to my stuff because they're actually building connections with the people that are there. Okay, the third thing, I mentioned this earlier, consistency in the community. I mean, you guys, this is everything, right? So if you're not consistent in farming a neighborhood, guess what? You're probably not getting business from farming that neighborhood if you're not consistent in whatever your prospecting method is. So for building a community, this is like kind of what I ask myself and I talk to my girls about is, how am I showing up weekly? Doesn't mean you have to do an event every week, but you better be showing up in front of them every week in some way, right? So you got to identify that. How am I showing up monthly? How am I showing up quarterly? How am I showing up annually? And am I leaving room for pop-up events? That's a question I ask for myself. I do about 60 to 70 events a year. So I have like my plug and play events. Like after this, I'm leaving and I'm going to coffee and co-working. That's one that's every single month. It's super easy. It's very like minimal planning for me at this point because I've been doing it for so long. But yet, like, I left room to be able to do a Moms in Real Estate live event in May. And so that has nothing to do with my consistency in my community, but it allows me to have that creative outlet throughout the year. A connect and cultivate example. So weekly, the way that I show up is every single Sunday, my community will get an email from me. So again, super easy. Like I'm not showing up doing an event every week, but I am sending them a consistent email. Monthly content creation day, monthly email marketing meetup, monthly coffee and co-working, quarterly ladies nights, quarterly workshops, and biannual retreats. Other pop-up events I do is new build tours. I'm getting very over those. I've been doing those for like 6 years now. And I'm like, can someone else do these? I love panels. I absolutely love going to panels. I love planning panels. And then we leave room for master classes. A lot of people will come to you as a community builder and they'll want to teach your community. And so having room for them to do that virtually like this is great. Okay, fourth, being in community while you're building community. So this is important. Like you can do it all by yourself, but you don't have to. I fully believe in 2 is better than 1 and that we go further together. And so you can hire the right people to pull this off, which has been a game changer for me. It's been really hard, but bringing in the right people, really identifying what their role is within your community. And then a huge thing too for me over the years has been creating strategic partnerships with other people and making sure that your business aligns with them. So, you know, Michaela, who's in this picture right here, and this is her right here, we actually met because I was teaching at EXP in the world and I was talking about community and she reached out to me afterwards and asked me if I'd coach her to build her community, which she now has. It's called Empowered by Connection. And through that is how my retreat started, is she's like, hey, will you come here and we could host a retreat together? Absolutely. I think about this all the time. I could go do retreats on my own all the time, but for me, it's such a better move for me to do them with her because I'm able to, you know, do less of the workload. She has an amazing community to tap into. Her value is so much different than my value. So it's just become this really great brand that we've created. Okay, the next thing I'm going to move into is how to plan out a year of events. Does anybody want to stop me before I move forward? Nope. Okay. Define your purpose. So the 2 things that I focus on are connection and business growth. Define your community pillars. So this is important. You want to make them authentic to you. For me, our pillars are marketing, branding, money mindset, and health and wellness. A lot of my events, you're going to see elements in these within them. And then you create an event mix. And so that's where I have monthly meetups, pop-up courses. This is actually supposed to be pop-up workshops. I don't know why that's right there. Quarterly workshops. Oh wait, pop-up monthly meetups, pop-up content days, sorry. And then annual retreats. I put this slide together late. And then you want to go and you want to plan out your calendar. So there's different ways to do this. You can do, a lot of people like to do these on those huge calendars and just map out your year. I do this on Trello. So I put each leg of what I'm doing and then I map out dates and make sure that by December, the end of the year, I have January through December of the next year completely planned out. But I think this is a really important part because all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to do an event this month. Like I committed a monthly meetup at within my community and I don't have those planned out yet. So we plan out a year in advance and then we stay on top of our events 3 months at a time. Expect growth and have a plan. This is definitely having the right people in place, having the right systems, which we'll go over. I love to talk about butts in the seats because I think this is hard for everybody. Okay. So I had a call last week from a girl who runs a massive organization and does these massive, 500-600 people events. And we were talking about just the struggle right now of getting tickets sold and at one of her events. And I had another community builder here in Phoenix call me and she's like, I'm about to jump off a roof. Like I am struggling right now getting butts in the seats for my event. And so we talked about this. This is going to be something that I feel like can come up quite often. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. So a couple things, email marketing has been huge for me. Does anybody on here use Flowdesk? So I always think, okay, perfect. So I always think like for an event, I always want to have like a lead generation link. So in Flowdesk, it's called a form and I want to talk about it constantly in my stories, right? So like, hey, if you haven't heard about, whatever, the investment workshop coming up, like click here, you'll get more details. I want to pull people off of Instagram and into my email marketing as often as I can. I've been doing that for about 2 years now. I've grown my email marketing list to over 20,000 people. And I'm like, it is like literally the most effective tool. But when I'm doing an event, the other piece of it is you want to make sure that you think through the before, during, and after. So before somebody walks in the door, what's their experience? Do they know exactly what to expect? Through a series of emails. So I have 3 emails that go out before every single event. Every single one answers who, what, when, and where. And that way, when they walk in, they know who's speaking. They know what time it starts. They know if there's any parking lot issues. They know exactly when it ends. They know if they're going to get food. They are prepared. That way, when they're at the event, we can really focus on connection, especially as a huge value to the educators to be able to be like prepped before they walk in so that they can have time connecting. You can spend your time connecting with people because as a community builder and hosting events, you have got to not be all over the place at these events. You've got to be able to actually go and provide value and make people feel a part of something. After the event, you want to have a series of emails that go out afterwards and you want to get them to the next event. So always have another event that you can invite people to once an event's over. Other pro tips for attendance, time block to direct message people and invite people. I still do this, okay? So I have a lot of events coming up. Just because I post on my stories does not mean that everybody sees my events, okay? You guys can probably all raise your hands if you're like, you run into somebody and you're like, how have you been doing? I haven't seen like anything from them in a while. And they're like, oh, we've been doing all these things. And you're like, why don't I see any of your stuff? Well, Instagram does not put everything we want to see in front of us. So that's always a really good reminder to me, like, not everybody's seeing my stuff. So yes, I've got to post reels. Yes, I've got to post carousel posts. Yes, I've got to do stories, but also people want to be invited to stuff. And I've learned this early on is like, if I could be a good job at being a master inviter, people really, really appreciate that. I've invited people 5-6 times where they've never come to one of my events and they'll be like, I'm coming one day. Like it means so much to me that you keep inviting me. Again, it's a way to stay relevant too. So I actually time block before events and it's like, just go invite people. And I will do that on Instagram or I'll pick up my phone and text people. The next thing is ask your friends to spread the word. Don't be shy about that. Like I literally will group message 5 or 6 of my friends and be like, hey, can you go share this event? Or, hey, can you go comment on this giveaway? Like whatever I'm doing for something to get get some traction and to get new bodies in to see it. I'm like always asking. And so that's one way. And I also do that for other people's events. Host a giveaway online for more exposure. I just recently did this. It brought major traction to my event, which was great. Tons of new eyes on it. Collaborate with a person of interest in your market to get more exposure. So this could be done like, you know, I have people that ask me to be affiliates for their events all the time, where that's a good example of it. Or they will, you can do when you're doing a reel, you can invite a collaborator so that it goes onto their page and you get access to all of their audience. This has been something that I will do. It depends on the event, but a lot of my events, I like to do this, is create a calendar invite that answers who, what, when, where, and why. And then I add the people to that. And so where I'm really focused right now is I really like micro events. So usually 40 people or less. So this isn't hard for my VA to go in, and if somebody registers, Eventbrite sends them an email, and one of their tasks is to add them to the calendar invite. That calendar invite, my team knows better answer these questions, because and you guys can probably think about like an event you've gone to and you're like, yes, they've emailed me about it, but like, where is that? Like, you want it fresh in their inbox. You want it on their calendar. The other thing is, if it's in their calendar and they're crappy at planning their days, you've already done it for them. So they can't have somebody else go on their link and book because it's time blocked out. And usually on Sundays, I go and I look at like, what the heck am I doing this week? I don't even know, right? We're busy. So this has been like probably one of the most effective things I've been doing for years. Anybody have questions? Okay. My favorite systems are Trello, Flowdesk. I'm pretty simple, guys. And I have a level 10. Level 10 is basically, I have a meeting with my team every single Monday, and we go through all of our upcoming events and any tasks that we have, and we literally go down the list so that we're all on top of stuff as a team. And it has been super, super effective. Flowdesk is like 19 bucks a month, and it's literally, like I said, I've grown my email database to over 20,000 people utilizing the different things within Flowdesk, especially the forms. And it's just very pretty. And I feel like the read rate is really, really high. And Trello, I think you guys use Asana, right? I feel like Asana is like a new thing to EXP. Yeah.
I use Monday personally.
Okay. So same thing, right? Yeah, so just having some kind of organizer board where you're able to, like for me, I have a 2025 Connect and Cultivate board, and I can go in there and I can see my year at a snapshot with all the details. My whole team can see it, and it makes it really, really easy. Communicating with your community. So you want to think about online platforms, weekly emails, and chat apps. I will tell you, I have looked at School. I have tested School. I was in Circle the last year. I'm going back to Facebook groups. I think I can't get everybody like on these new apps, and it's been like a complete challenge. And I feel like everyone's still on Facebook, and as much as I avoid it, I feel like has been the most effective for me. The weekly emails has been something that I love. People love. They look forward to the emails. They know they can expect it from me. And if I make sure to do those, that builds likability and trust within my community as well, because they're like every Sunday seeing that. And then chat apps. I have different ways that they can be in community within the community. So for example, we have a mastermind for solo producing real estate agents here locally in Arizona. So they're in their own chat app, where I have a whole marketing chat app. So there's all these different opportunities for them to have like smaller conversations within the community. To showcase your upcoming events, you could do a free Canva website, make it super, super simple. I love StanStore. It's been great. I actually feel like I'm going to be diving into StanStore even more this year. They're about to come out. They're beta testing right now a mini chat feature within there. So instead of paying for StanStore and mini chat, you can now just pay for StanStore and have that same feature in there. So I'm really excited about that. And then a community calendar. I would say over all the years I've been doing events, the calendar is always the hardest. So just making sure, again, like your calendar is so clear and it answers who, what, when, where, and why, and it's always updated. People are craving community now more than ever. For businesses, this means that community is critical to success. That was something that Forbes Women just put out. And so community building is, again, like one of the things that has been amazing for me, has given me so many different opportunities. If you decide to build a community, it should never take away from your real estate business. It should only enhance your real estate business. You have got to look at it like a prospecting leg. And I did 2 QR codes, one to connect with me on Instagram. If you guys want to connect with me on Instagram, the other one, I did a code for 10% off for anyone in the Modern Agent Blueprint community. If you guys are looking to be in the right rooms to grow your money mindset, that's what the upcoming retreat is. And that's all I have for you guys.
I love that. That is awesome. You did a great job of like breaking down each of the steps so it's not like extremely overwhelming.
Yeah, you have to like, one of the things I love is the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. It's not that hard at the end of the day. So it's just a matter of doing it. And so making it as simple as possible. And I think people are craving simplicity in their business. So to be able to give that to them in your community is important.
For sure. So it looks like Angie had a question. She said, can you show your Trello? I have just started and I'm trying to figure out how to use my Trello to plan social media.
Oh, yeah, I can show you my 2025 board. I don't plan social media on it, but I can show you what my board looks like. Content planning is hard. But it is so awesome when you can do it. Okay, so like here's my notes for 2025. I do 12 content creation days, so I have those listed there. I do 4 workshops, so I have those listed there. I do a quarterly State of the Union meeting, which is all around finances, which is one of my favorite meetings. We have a live podcast event. We have our new build tours. We have real cafes that we do, coffee and co-working, marketing meetups, and retreats. So if you go in here, my team is supposed to have like basically like headshots, bios, you know, who, what, when, where is all in here, all of the marketing stuff. We have checklists so that we all know who's on top of everything. So when we're going through our level 10 spreadsheet, this is kind of what we're going back and referring to.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
For sure.
Anyone else?
Is anyone planning any events for the first quarter? No, nobody. I did, so last year, my goal was to do like once a quarter, do like a happy hour meetup with like VIP clients. And it actually was really easy to organize. It great of a turnout, but everybody responded and they're like, oh, I can't wait to attend the next one. Like, sorry, I can't make it. So it was, I would still say it was effective because it was a great way to reach out to them. They responded, they were invited to something, so they felt special. The people that did come, you know, I got to have a conversation with, and it wasn't very expensive at all. So I feel like it was a win, and it's something I would definitely do again. I just haven't yet. But what are some things that, like, other than cocktails, I guess you could say, like, what's something similar along those lines that I could do?
We just had, so I love doing like non-traditional events too. So we were just talking about this on our call, and one of the chapter leaders did vision boards and vibes, and it was all about so it was like you were doing your vision boards. They were all digital, so everyone brought their computers. They were doing vision boards, and then she had a sound bath person come in, and like they sat and did sound baths and listened to music and had wine. And so you know, you think about what are the traditional things that real estate agents do. They do Santa, they do the bunny, they do movie nights, they do happy hours. So like, how can you stand out to where they're like, oh my gosh, my realtor did this, but it's something that you would want to go to, right? Like you're probably
Yes.
going to want to go to a Frozen movie, but yet that's something that, you know, is like easy to do within your community. Well, if you're doing these events, like make it more authentic to you, because then you're going to also attract the person that you want to attract to be your client.
True. I love the vision boards and vibes. That's awesome. And that's totally something I would go to.
Another one of my girls did a vision board in flannels. I forget what they called it, but it was like flannels, and they like made boards. Everyone had to show up in like flannel pajamas, and it's like a whole thing.
Cool. What if you could do, maybe you did like a craft night and called it like PJs and projects or something.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I will tell you was like one of my favorite events that I did was investing with confidence. And so it was for people to bring their clients and take them through from start to finish. Because I think that real estate agents do it, like not everybody, but a lot of real estate agents do not educate their clients on the investment process. And so it's not that they don't want to invest, they literally just don't know how to invest. So we brought in all the people and educated them from start to finish. We had a tax strategist in there. We had a wholesaler. We had creative finance, traditional finance. We had a financial advisor, and we just took them through all the different ways that they could invest in real estate. And then at the end, we had like the connection opportunities so that they could go and like ask the questions, build the relationships. And I will tell you, just like the faces on some of the buyers and sellers that were in there, it was like they'd never heard anything like that. So it was really fun. And I feel like that was a really fun event for real estate agents to do.
I like that. And who did you say like that you had there as far as like your panel per se of people? You had
Yeah,
a
so
whole city.
we had a wholesaler, a traditional realtor, creative finance, traditional finance, tax strategist, and a financial advisor.
Got it. Nice.
Which is also like so important for you guys to have those contacts. People love like getting to like a lot of people don't have the opportunity to have those contacts or be in rooms with those people to have those conversations. Like
For
I
sure.
have a branding class that I'm doing where I'm gonna have like a trademark attorney in there. So it's like they'd have to pay to have that conversation if they were to do it on their own. Now they're gonna have time for a Q&A and an opportunity to go up and ask her questions. Like that's super valuable to your audience. It's also super valuable to the attorney because they're growing their network just by educating in your room.
Right. And if these people are considering branding anything, who do you think they're going to call? That attorney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Okay. Somebody asked, Kim asked, not a mom, can you still start a mom's group, or what would you call it?
Well, I would do something that's authentic to you. So like if you're not a mom, I wouldn't do a mom's group, but I would start like a single ladies group or whatever. But it could be, you know, I just did pickleball and moms. It could be pickleballs and guys. Like I just think it's more of the thing is like, what's the common like thing that you guys have? And then it doesn't always have to be pickleball, but you know, every month we have a pickleball date where we're playing. But then maybe you do have a happy hour in between, or you do have sound baths and vision boards. You don't have to only do pickleball. It's just that's what's bringing you guys together, and that's what's consistently on your calendar.
Um, Anybody else have any questions? No. I love this. You gave me some really good ideas, and I think it's a great way to just to connect with your clients, to connect with new people, maybe even have them bring a friend with them, and then you're really connecting with, people that have similar interests as you as well,
Yeah.
which is
You if
awesome.
you come to a Connect and Cultivate event, my ideal client is literally the whole room. So that's what's been really cool. Like when I tell you I was cold calling and I hated it, I had the weirdest agents that would come into those appointments, and I was like, I don't want to keep doing
Yeah.
that, right? So really utilize like the room creation as like a way to get in front of people. Like you enjoy, like we work a lot. And so for us to show up to work, like we want to enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Sarah said, really loved your ideas. I gained great value from this.
Well, good. Yeah, feel free if you guys ever do an event, like send me a message on Instagram, tell me about it, and it would be awesome. I think more people should do this. I am always so surprised at how many people do not have community.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they're more focused on just the transaction versus building the relationships. And then they're also the people, just in what I've noticed, they're the people that are out there buying the leads. They're constantly, turnover, 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 where, I haven't ever bought any leads. I'm more focused on really nurturing the relationships with each client because I would rather work with people that they know and, continue to build relationships that way. So I would rather spend the money on them so that they send me good people versus, wackadoodles that God knows where they're coming from, So that's just my personal preference.
I agree.
So awesome. This was great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I appreciate you letting me teach in this community, and it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. And you'll have to let us know when you're hosting an event because if any of us can make it, I think it'd be very worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Cool.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.